Hey, how you doing? Jack Scalfani here, another episode of Cooking with Jack, and I'm so excited. I've tried to get this episode on for a long time, ever since I filleted my thumb instead of the fish. So this is what we're doing. I have a special guest, and you guys have been guessing all week. It is Chef Elizabeth Witt. Thank you very much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, so here's the deal. She is a cordon bleu trained chef. And now, can you give... So I have some young viewers that may not know what cordon bleu is. Can you tell them how amazing cordon bleu is?
Well, it's cordon bleu in Paris, so it is the most amazing. It's like
The most elite, right?
Yes, definitely.
The best of the
in
best.
Paris, France, taught in French, with the most incredible chefs as teachers, and the most incredible restaurant scene as your backyard.
So she's been trained, and how I got her here is just a miracle from God. But she came to do the show, and then I'm going to tell you about some of the other things that she does that if you want to get some more information on knife skills or cooking or anything, she knows it all. It's totally cool. Since you're the master, I'm going to just ask you a few questions, and you can kind of guide us.
Great.
Okay. I guess, first of all, and I have everything on the table here, so we're going to bring you in close in a second. I guess the one thing I want to ask you is cutting surfaces. What is the best cutting surface?
I think the most important thing to think about in cutting surfaces is to make sure that, well, let's step back. First of all, the most important thing is your knife. You want one good knife, and then with that good knife, you want to make sure that you don't use a cutting surface that's going to dull your knife.
Oh.
So every time you use your knife on a cutting surface, if it's too hard for your knife, it's going to take this blade that you've taken care to sharpen, or you've paid the money to invest in a good knife for, and it's going to dull it. So the knives are made with what we call teeth, and the more you bang them, the more you dull them. So if you have a really hard surface like glass or really hard plastic, you're going to dull your knife. So what you want to look for
that's
is
like this.
softer.
This is real hard, right?
This is a little on the hard side, yeah.
Okay, bamboo's hard.
Bamboo is not so hard on your knives. Bamboo is
Okay.
pretty good for your knives. Composite wood cutting boards are really nice, and then obviously these cutting boards are going to be good too. You really want to avoid really hard surfaces like tile or glass.
I don't have a composite, but will this work for now?
Oh, it'll be perfect.
It'll be
Yeah,
okay?
It'll be great.
Okay, all right. So let's bring you guys in close because we want to show you some things. Because we're going to show you also. She's going to tell us the one thing that drives her nuts that goofball people like me do all the time. I'm sure it's my fingers like this going ta 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 and working my way to my fingers. We're going to find out. So come on in close. Okay, here we go. These are the sharpening devices I have because I have no idea which one's the best one. So we have the stone, and what is this called?
This is called a steel.
A steel?
Sharpening steel.
Okay, and then we have just this generic one that you get at Walmart. You slide your knife through and shavings go flying everywhere. And then you have this one, which has different sections for different things. One does serrated, one does, if you get a nick, it'll smooth it back out, and then you sharpen the last one. So, and that's is my favorite because it's the easiest. But which one of these is just nasty that you would never recommend?
Well, let's see. I don't know if I wouldn't recommend it. I just would never use it myself,
Right.
and that would be these two.
All right, so we're down to the stone. Do they use the stone anymore?
Yeah, lots of people will use the stone, and if you know how to use it correctly, it's very good, and it would serve the purpose.
Okay, you don't like the stone. It's a lot of work, right?
I don't like it because it's a lot of work, and
Yeah.
I would rather use my knife correctly
Mm-hmm.
and not have to use this very much.
Okay.
So I choose.
But yours, she brought hers, by the way. Look at hers. If that ain't a guy thing, I don't know what is. Look at that. She's had to bring a bigger one than me. Okay, now let's get we're going to get my little Fisher-Price Toys R Us knife, okay? This is one you buy on TV and everybody laughs at you when you do. But it's dull. I'm sure you just felt it. Was it dull?
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay, but this is a cheap knife. Now, tell me why I should spend on a expensive knife.
Okay, so how much did you pay for this knife?
I paid $60 for the whole set, and I got like 1,000,000 knives.
Okay, you got 1,000,000 knives for $60.
Right?
Do you ever use those knives though?
No, that's the only one. That's the only one I use.
So I advocate buying one good knife for about $120, and you'll use it every day, and it will stay. So the idea with the problem with a bad knife is that it holds the blade. It doesn't hold the blade as well as a good knife. So the steel obviously is nowhere in comparison to a good knife.
Okay.
So the problem with that is that you have to constantly use all those things that we just got rid of, the sharpening tools,
Right.
to keep the blade going.
Okay, now you have a Japanese
Yes,
symbol
this
in
is
there?
a Japanese knife. It's called Shun or Shun. I also have a global knife that does the same idea, but this is like $120. You can get it on
$120.
sale for $99.
What's the best way to hold a knife?
All right, so the best way to hold the knife is going to be to grab the blade with your thumb and your forefinger. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to talk with my right hand.
Go ahead.
So with my right hand, I'm going to grab onto the blade with my thumb and my forefinger like this. So I'm actually going to be holding the knife on the blade here.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take my 3 remaining fingers and wrap that around the handle. And
Nice.
that's going to be how...
Oh, wait, don't move. Okay, does that totally look like a slasher film right there? Look at that. Look at that. The slasher people know how to hold a knife. We don't. See, we don't mass murder people. That's why.
So the idea behind holding it this way is that I'm going to have much more control over the knife than if I were holding it like this. So you can try it at home, feel how it feels in your hand.
Right.
You're much more stable, much more in control if you're holding it this way than the traditional way that most people do, which is this way.
And the key is to keep those 3 fingers wrapped around, and you're never going to cut yourself.
Right. Now that we know how to hold our knife correctly, what we need to do is learn how to use it correctly. So that's one of the biggest mistakes. First of all, the first mistake would be holding it incorrectly. Now, using it incorrectly is what we're going to deal with.
Okay.
So instead of using your knife as a smushing tool to smash things into oblivion, what you want to do is actually use your knife as a mini saw. Okay, so you want to keep the tip of your knife on the cutting board.
Right.
You want to lift up, bring the knife towards you, and at the same time you want to push down and away. So down and away, just like that. Now we're going to add the celery into it.
Okay.
And we do want to make sure that we're taking care to not get this hand into the blade. So with something like celery, you want to hold on to it kind of like this. And the one thing that people tend to forget is the thumb. The thumb tends to stick out like this. So what you always want to remember is that your thumb is pulled back in.
So tuck all your fingers in.
Especially the thumb.
Especially the thumb. Okay.
So here's how it happens with the celery. Now you'll notice I left the leaves on because this is, let's say we're going to make a beef burgundy or some type of a stew.
Right.
The leaves of the celery taste delicious and there's no reason to throw them out. So
I never keep them.
I know,
I never
nobody
keep
does.
them.
So leave the leaves on. If you're going to cook the celery, making soup or stocks or stews, leave the leaves on. If you're going to be eating it raw, then obviously take the leaves out.
Look at that. It's like razor thin.
Now, I'm going slow. Once you get to be comfortable with your knife skills, you can go faster.
Right.
And you can see that the movements kind of shorten up.
Oh, right.
And you'll notice that I'm moving my knife towards my fingers and then I'm moving everything up.
Oh, okay.
And now
so
this
you
is
go
going
towards fingers and you slide up and reposition your fingers?
Yes, but the most important thing is actually that you're comfortable.
Okay, so now the other thing was we talked off the air about onions, and onions seem to be the number one thing everybody wants to learn how to dice and chop and...
Dice and chop. In every recipe it says diced onion, chopped onion.
Yeah, always diced onions.
Right.
And your view is what?
My view is it's faster to slice an onion, and you can usually, given if your knife skills aren't as best as they could be, you can usually get an onion sliced thinner than you could a dice. So it's going to be faster to slice it, and it's also going to be thinner to dice it, which is going to mean it's going to cook faster, and you're going to have a quicker cooking time.
So when they say dice, I could do it the way you're going to show us.
Yeah, if you're going to cook your onion long enough, you want to read through the recipe and understand what you're doing. If you're going to be cooking it long enough, then you're probably better off slicing the onion than dicing.
So you're saying just slice.
I'm saying slice.
All right,
that's for something that's going to be cooked. If you want to have a decoration of a little minced onion, that's a whole other story. That's a whole other show.
Oh, we don't decorate on this show.
I don't either. So there we go. But
decorating is with ketchup. No, just kidding.
I don't know about
I'm
that.
just teasing. I was a joke. I'm so sorry. Never do ketchup jokes with a chef in the room. And a sharp knife, by the way.
And I know how to use it.
That was really bad. It's gonna decorate me with her knife. Okay, go ahead and show me what you do with the onion.
So first of all, this is my opinion. Obviously, my opinion is my opinion. Everybody has another way to do it. So what I'm going to show you is on the side of your cutting board.
Oh. Okay.
What I want you to do is slice off the top and the bottom. So why would I do this to the side?
On the side, so you don't get the little pieces in the
dirty,
middle.
Right, exactly. So I'm doing all this work.
That's brilliant.
And that means I don't have to keep taking my cutting board and washing it off, so I can keep everything that I'm doing in the center of my cutting board clean, and this is going to be the stuff that...
And I'm all motioning you to go to the middle of the board, and you're like, no, we're going to do it the right way. Okay, all right, so we've cut off the ends.
So I've cut off both ends, the top and bottom. That's given me a nice flat surface. A flat surface means that this onion is not going to roll around.
Right.
So now I'm going to be able to saw through, so I'm going to use my knife as a saw through the onion, and cut it in half. So that will allow me to peel the onion much easier.
Okay.
And then
Right.
it also gives me this flat surface here. Okay, so now what we want to do with our onion is, you can see the grain of the onion is going this way. And what we're going to do is just cut across the grain. First of all, because it's going to be the easiest way to hold on to our onion. And through all parts of the cutting process. So that's why we're going to hold our onion like this. And you can see that since it's higher off the cutting board, I've had to change the way I'm holding it.
Like more like
so
a spider.
It's kind of like, or like a bear claw.
Yeah, bear claw, okay.
Start at the top of the onion and saw my way down.
Okay.
So I'm going to start at the top and saw down.
And once again, look how beautiful. Look how razor thin that is. That's nice.
Well, the thing is, that comes with practice. So once you've sliced a few onions, you get to be better at gauging the size of your slices.
How do you
in the
hold the
beginning,
end,
don't worry.
though? How do you hold the
Okay,
end?
well, that's great. Once you get to the point where it's hard to hold on to, first of all, it's going to be dangerous. The more dangerous it is, the more likely you are to hurt yourself, but also the slower you're going to go. So instead of being dangerous and being slow, what we're going to do is look for a new flat surface. We had this nice flat surface here.
Right.
Now we're going to look for another one. So I can find it right about here, like that.
Oh, no way.
Now, since it's lower to the cutting board, I can keep my tip of my knife down.
And it still slices.
So sometimes this happens and you can just get rid of that.
Right.
So it still slices, and now that the tip of my knife is on the cutting board, I go a lot faster.
I know I do things, people laugh at me all the time. They're like, dude, you're going to lose a finger, or dude, you are horrible with a knife. They're brutal. You guys are brutal. I know it. You just are. What is the one thing that people do in your class you're like, no, never do that?
First of all,
see, I knew you'd
yeah,
we talked about it. You come out with one. What's your first pet peeve?
So I use a garlic press all the time because you can go through a million cloves of garlic in a really short period of time. It's the one thing I take with me. I'll leave my knife at home, but I'll take my garlic press. If I'm going to go to a friend's house and maybe cook, I'll take my garlic press, and I won't take my knife.
Because you know they don't have the garlic press.
Because I know they don't have the right garlic press.
Right.
They might have their grandmother's garlic press, which is not worth it, but...
Okay.
So that's the one gadget. So anyways, people take the garlic press, and then they take their sharp knives that they've just spent $120 on, and they ram the tips onto them, or they scrape them. So they're going to ruin their knife blade by using it incorrectly. So... I guess maybe...
I would come flying out of screen and I would just jump on that person. Dude, that's my good knife. What are you doing?
Well, I just say, well, maybe you'd want to use the back end of your knife or a cheaper knife to do that.
Like the ones I have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can use those all the time. We're going to use those to pull nails out of the wall in a minute. Okay, so now you do classes all year round, right?
All year round, yes.
Okay, now we're trying to get her on the internet, and for those of you who aren't in California, just hang in there. We're talking. But in the meantime, if you live locally, like in Orange County, LA, any of the 7 counties in Southern California, and you want to come to one of her classes, do me a favor. Go to the website down below. We got information on the screen for you. You can go, Chef Elizabeth Witt, and can we give them an email address to contact you or not?
The email address is on the website.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chef Elizabeth Witt. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. You were wonderful. And we hope to see her again on the show, showing us something else. Sign up for those classes, and I will see you on the next Cooking with Jack. Take care.